Events begin and we see the hero of the story leaning his back against a tree and putting his face in it. He says that there is a saying that he always tolerated while he was in the army. That is, he must be careful of falling leaves. But he tells us after that he cannot act on this saying. Before we understand anything, let us go back to the events exactly 4 days, specifically in the war zone, where we meet the hero of the story, Park Byung-gang, who is tired very much and he can't take his breath. He tells his colleague to calm down a little because he has grown up and has no more than 4 days left until he reaches the age of retirement. But his luck in the market finds the new platoon leader, Kim Shin, coming to him. At that time, when he saw Barak, he said in his secret that he looked very sad. Suddenly, he finds the leader looking at him and calling him. He tells him, "I want you now, show me your skill in crossing barriers." Park responds to him to let him know that he is retiring. But before he finishes speaking, the commander interrupts and says, "It seems you didn't hear well. I told you just now that I want to see your skills in crossing barriers." Park remains annoyed and says in his secret that he is supposed to be resting at all. He responds to the leader and tells him that he has grown up and will be sitting soon. It also teaches him that he will not be able to use his skills like in the past. But before he finished speaking, the army commander interrupted him again and disturbed him. He says, "You haven't left the army yet, and I won't let you waste any more time." Here, Barak has no choice but to show all his skills to the leader today. And from tomorrow, after he sits down, he will hide and not reveal his identity to anyone. Then we find him standing and gathering his forces to start, and he gets up and runs very quickly in the middle of everything. Soldiers. At that time, he was running around and thinking about his life after his military service ended. Finally, he will leave the army, remain a civilian, and will feel comfortable like any normal person. But suddenly, Beit Kabal was at the first checkpoint, and all the soldiers and the battalion commander were amazed. And you are worried about him. Then the whole world becomes black and everything becomes darkness in Barak's eyes. As time passes, we find someone calling for him from the middle of this darkness. He called him Dear Warrior. At that time, the darkness around Park begins to disappear and the light begins to appear. At this moment, Park was starting to wake up and had a severe headache. And the person who called him in the first place was still calling him and saying, "Sticks, warrior." Here, Barak responded to the voice and told him that he was not a warrior or anything, and that he was just a soldier. At that time, Barak looked at his body and was very surprised that there were no wounds after this accident, because it is normal for him to suffer serious injuries. He then opens his eyes and finds a strong, beautiful woman in front of him. She tells him that her name is Berea and that she is the queen who will guide Mr. Park in his new life after that. He died. She also knows him and knows all the hardships he faced in his previous life. Park is shocked by what is happening and starts laughing very strangely. This is what made the queen surprised by his behavior. But Barak didn't believe anything at all and thought it was all a dream. Even as much as he couldn't believe it, he went into a hysterical state and started hitting himself with a pen to wake up. This dream. The queen at the time was trying to calm her down and ask him to stop what he was doing, but all of this was to no avail. Here, Park begins to understand the situation he is in. He tells himself that he only has 3 days left before he leaves the army. What is in it now does not make any sense. The events of our story begin and we find a person sitting in front of his feelings. And you say this is definitely your first time in this place. And he wonders again if this will remain a gang between kings. And tells her that he doesn't understand himself if this is a sure that this boy would not die easily. Park gets even more crazy. Chang talks to them and asks them if they understand what they are doing. I read the second part of who is them that the association will arrest them because of the problems they caused. He then continues his words and it's very confused by his words life. He used him at the end without interruption for 9 days. He tells him that no one can stop him from doing what he wants to do. Then he nervously asks Xuanji if he really killed his younger brother. Xuanji takes out a sword from the store and many irritations to attack his brother. Becomes agitated with the sword, insults her. When a Negro sees the sword, the queen knows that it is really of me. She becomes fanatical about him and says that he considers himself like dead from now on. You were supposed to be a brave warrior who would defeat evil and save this world. But now you will be deprived of this. As punishment, you will be sent to the new world without any skill. Park gets angry and tells her that you can't send me to the new world like this. He becomes fanatical about him and quickly attacks the queen himself dead from now on. Golden threads come and bind the blessings of every madness in his body. Don't let him even know how to move. The queen is leaving. Alala. And let us find out if you can live in the new world with just your body. Alala also goes and makes fun of him. He thinks of this matter as if it were military service. At the same time, there was a shift matrix forming under Park. The queen throws him from the sky from a very high height on the ground. But Barak continues to live, and his wish for relief unfortunately does not come true. The next scene we find is a continuation of the first scene. And everything that happened was a flashback, and the one who was standing on the tree is the hero of the story. Barak. At this time his condition was completely apparent because it had not been 3 days. He was hiding in the forest from the moment he fell from the sky until his military service period ended. Then he makes himself a cake out of clay and tree branches and celebrates reaching retirement age. He cannot believe that he has left the army. After a while, we see Bako sleeping on the ground and adjusting from the air. Because he hasn't eaten for a long time and he feels like has going to die. Of our story he tells himself that he was so hungry that he ate anything he found in the forest. His name is Chang and he is 25 years old or not. He is now working as a soul game designer he found himself in. What he does is not entirely human. At that time, every beast in the forest will be afraid of him, because she feels a strange Cadal energy coming from his direction. Park here is desperate and cannot bear his situation at all. He sits crying and raises his head to the sky, and he admits that it was all his fault. He also asks the queen to forgive him because he was angry with her. He tells her, "I don't need anything, and I don't even need you to protect me. I just want food or even a weapon so I can find it." Here the queen responds to him and tells him that she will turn a blind eye to his rudeness that she was before. She will sympathize with him and offer him help. At that time, Barak would not be honest with himself and would be reassured by his happiness. He sits thanking her and telling her that he will never marry her. Then we find labor tools descending from the sky. The queen tells him that she sold him some of his old knowledge. This is so that it is familiar to him and he knows how to use it. She also knows that she will not need anything in return for this. After a while, we find out what the queen did for him. What was an ordinary shovel and a bag containing cooked food. In the end, the queen speaks to him and tells him not to talk to me again. Park listens to her words and is very happy with the things she did for him. On the other side, we see two girls riding a horse and standing in front of the forest in which the park is hidden. They get off their horses and prepare to enter its interior. We know that the girl with purple hair is called Captain Dora. She came to me here on the orders of her commander. This is after she told her that the monster was escaping the forest in a dangerous way. As a result, they cause damage to the football and farmers who live in this village. The leader also knows that she has lived for 50 years and has never seen anything like this happen. That's why she suspects that a terrifying creature might have appeared in the past few days. His name is Chang, this is what made the monsters fear him and flee the forest. Thus, the leader asked Dora to go explore the forest and investigate this matter and find out the origin. He becomes fanatical about him and says that he considers himself dead from now on and looks at the person she will be with on the mission, so she laughs in order to hide someone's fear. We return to the events again when Dora and her assistant, Nilari, enter the forest. The assistant is surprised that the forest is completely riddled with monsters, to the point that any citizen can enter it. It's normal from tomorrow, no problems. Contrary to usual, she does not believe what is happening. After a while, Miss Hume went to the forest and her helpers found the cake, which was made of clay. Whoever blessed celebrated it. They are both surprised by the words written next to it, and do not understand what is written next to it. This is because Park was writing on the cake in the language of science in which he lived before that. She says that she has never seen language like this, and now she feels a feeling of frustration and dissatisfaction emerging from this writing. She turns to Nilari to help her after that and tells her that the matter seems serious. She asks her if she wants to leave the mission and come back again. Nilari responds to her and tells her that she agrees if she is the one who will bear the responsibility since she is the leader. She thinks about the subject and thinks that the teacher has great hope for them, and if she no longer wants to put her down. Here we know that Dora is already famous for its monster performance in missions, unlike the mighty forces. Who has it? They continue walking after that while they are still talking. Suddenly, something strange flashes in their eyes. So Nilari tells me that she will count to 3 and run as fast as they can. Indeed, after 3 cycles, it runs at full speed. She says that she must create some distance between them and this thing, because she felt a mischievous glow emanating from sitting in front of a computer. She found a hand that stopped her and prevented her from running. 25 years old. She quickly turns around and finds Nilari. Dora is surprised by what she did in front of a computer. Let's go away before this thing attacks us. Nilari doesn't reply and just sits laughing silly. And you say that you think he didn't know that you wanted to run away from here, because you didn't want to go out for this mission in the first place. This time, I won't let you run away, and he abandons again. At the same time, we find he becomes fanatical about her and says that he is very hungry and in a strange state and has little energy. At this time, in front of a computer, and Nilari says his name is Chang and he is trying to escape before they get hurt. Simply put, they are running away and you look behind them to see if this thing is following them or not. But then you find that he has disappeared and is nowhere to be found. But suddenly we find Barak in the sky and he descends in front of them and blocks the path from which they were going to escape. 2 of them were surprised and said, "How can a person jump to such a high point?" So Barak talks to them and tells them that he was so bored that he was holding the shovel. He used it for 5 hours a day. He also knew this scenario before it happened. He continues his words after that and tells them that the hero will be stronger when he is able to live after what he was, close to death, and he would be very appreciative of helping them show the way out of the forest. At this time, Dora tells herself that ever since she entered the forest, sitting in front of an unfamiliar monster, he says his name she had never seen before, and a certain eerie presence over the entire forest. That's why she grabs a weapon and orders Nilari to get her weapon too. She tells herself that the queen was indeed right. Something serious has appeared here and I have to deal with this thing now. I will never let him leave the forest no matter what happens. Here, Park regains consciousness and apologizes for the behavior he did a while ago, because he was just excited and couldn't believe that he could finally get out of the forest. He lowers his weapon and asks them to stop their attack. Dora can't believe it, and she attacks him and Nilari. But Park will be treating his account like this. He gives them an evil laugh and tells them to stop attacking him if they don't want to die. Dora and Nilari don't care about what he said, and they also determined and completed an attack on him. But suddenly a trap appears in the place and embarrasses them both together. Here we know that Park was ready for this trap from the beginning. This is due to the nature of the military life that he lived so that he could find food for himself after he found his fate. Animals, and also to ensure his safety inside this forest from anything that could harm him. The only thing that made him able to struggle and live all this time was in the forest. It is anger, and that he chose instead of surrendering to take his hawk from everything that had happened before. We return to this scene again and find his role and find him falling into Park's trap. It is a pit full of thorns so that whoever falls into it dies. We see Bako standing over them and telling them that he is busy making traps every day. The area they are in is full of traps and they cannot escape from it. But a cycle that does not lose hope and tells me that it destroys the thorns underneath them with the regret it opens. In fact, they can do this and land on the ground without hurting themselves. Then they went to attack Bako at once, both of them. But Park tells them that before that, there was someone who also thought he could escape from my trap. But before he realized his next step, he fell into the second trap. Here we see a large tree trunk affecting Nilari and causing her to lose consciousness. She quickly goes to look at her and tries to check if she is okay or not. But Barak doesn't waste his time and attacks her before she even realizes it. He tells her that you are not supposed to reduce your band during the fighting. After a while, we find a course opening and it excels. At that time, she felt severe pain in her brain due to Park's blow. She doesn't have any energy to burn just one muscle in her body. Here she discovers that she is bound by ropes by her hands and feet. She wonders if there will be any chance for her to escape from these ropes. At this time, she would want to check on Nilari. She calls out to her, but Nilari does not respond because she is still unconscious. And because of this, there is a cycle in which her mind is constantly running wild in order to excel. Nilali excels after that, and she is surprised that Park was able to defeat a tournament also. So you understand that they are finished, and no one knows how to get them out of here. She responds to her and tells her that he didn't defeat me. I just wasn't paying attention because he was able to take advantage of this situation. Nilali responds to her words and tells her that we are now tied to a tree and will die because of your negligence. At the same time, we find someone else blessing them and telling them that you woke up and I hope you slept. Good. Dora and Nilari looked at each other in amazement at what they said. Park concludes from their reaction that they did not understand what he was saying at all. Here, Nilari cannot control herself and is crying and thinking that he will kill them. But you guide her and say that if he wanted to kill us, that he was sure that this boy a long time ago. Park interrupts their conversations and tries to communicate with them using sign language. He makes them understand that he is stuck here and wants them to help him get out of the forest. She understands his tone of speech, annoys him, and tells him that she will never help someone like him get out of here. But the funny thing about it is that Nilari told him that she would help him, but on the condition that he leaves them alone and does not kill them. Dora is shocked by Nilari's response. She gets angry with her and hits her on the head for her betrayal. But Nilari may have done this because she didn't want to die anymore. Barak at this time is one of those who understands Pedag that Dora does not want to cooperate with him. He grabs her by the throat and tells her, I didn't want to use this method with you.
السلام عليكم ازيكم يا شباب. تعالوا نشوفوا المكتوب ده اللي كان بيخلي اللعبة. السلام عليكم ازيكم يا شباب. الفيديو
used it specifically to prank the newcomers, those who whitewash the army. He continues his words while pouring the sauce into her bug. He tells her that this is a very spicy chicken sauce. This was left over because I didn't use it because there were no chickens here. Her brain slowed down after she swallowed the sauce.
السلام عليكم ازيكم يا شباب. الفيديو ده ان شاء الله هيكون الموسم الاول من حكايه شوان. فلو انت كنت متابع الاحداث اللي فاتت كلها تقدر تروح على الدقيقه دي وتشوف الاحداث الجديده على طول. وبس كده هسيبكم مع الفيديو. تبدا احداث حكايتنا وبنلاقي شخص قاعد قدام كمبيوتر.
But we did not understand what made the teacher so surprised. In the next scene, we find Park completing a round of torture. He is sitting on top of her because she does not want to cooperate with him. Dora tells herself that she will never volunteer, no matter how much she is tortured. At this time, Nilari will be safe from what Barak is doing. He looks at her and notices her looks full of anger towards him. That's why he takes out the bag of sauce and asks her if she wants to taste it. Nilari thinks about what happened to his role because of this sauce, so she becomes very afraid and stands in front of him. And you say to her, I don't understand what you are saying, but I'm sorry. She tries to communicate with him using sign language and tells him that she will guide him to the path outside the forest. Park thinks for a while and tells her that he wants to go to her curry. At this time, we return to the teacher after she met with the curry sheikhs. She says that they are now Al-Fajr and Dora, and that Larry has not yet returned from the mission. She continues her words after that and tells them that I made a mistake because I sent them both away only for the dangerous mission. The sheikh responds to her and tells her that these two have a strange personality. But we can't deny that they are your best students, so you don't have to worry. The teacher confirms the truth of his words, but she knows that it is now because it is getting late, but it is still late. They didn't come back. After a while, we find a girl wearing a golden abiyah, showing signs of fatigue from so much running. She quickly enters the tent and tells them that Captain Dora and Nilari have returned. At this time, on the borders of the village, we find a horse rider, Park, holding Nilari hostage. And he tied it up and tied it to the other horse. So she thinks about it and tells herself that once they reach the ball, they will have a great chance. They change the situation and can defeat this creature. Park is still taking Nilari as his share. The people of Alcaria set up a residence for him, with weapons and a lock on the entrance to Alcaria, preventing him from entering. At this time, Park noticed a statue halfway across the continent and it looked like someone he had seen before. Suddenly, he remembered when he was listening to the conversation that was between Dora and Nilari in the forest. And in the midst of their talk, he heard the word Berea. He thinks that this is the same name as the queen who sent him here. At this moment, he concludes that this might be her knowledge. So he gets up. Jarami Nilari catches her before she falls and lands on her bug. And this is what? He lets the village people not know how to attack him and open the way for him to enter. At that time, the villagers believed that they were very poor. Bless what he did. That's why they returned to his garage while he's inside. To the village and towards the statue, Bellaria. As soon as he blessed, he arrived in front of me. The statue takes Nilari along. The village people take advantage of this and what? They waste time and prepare to attack him. But suddenly they are all shocked. And they freeze in place. And they prefer to conquer the other with their strength. And they do not. We believe what happened. This is because they find a pool at the base of the statue. And he begs him. After that, he gets up and his expressions change. And he looks like 188 degree. He tells them that he is the warrior that Queen Bellaria sent to teach. The villagers are confused about what is happening. And we are confused. Whether they are attacking him now or whether this is actually one of the queens. Bellaria sold him or left him to betray him later. But in this moment, the teacher, you come
السلام عليكم ازيكم وده اللي كان بيخلي كل سكان العمر السلام عليكم يزلوا شهرين بس ويخلص
And the queen, Bellaria will send a warrior to lead them through this ordeal. The people of the village, they can't believe what happened because they haven't had a vision from Queen Bellaria for more than 7 years. Yes, but the teacher interrupts them and tells them that this could be the great warrior. Or it could also be that this is the great oppressor that Queen Bellaria spoke about before. After a while, the events subside and we go to the teacher's tent. Her role there was to be fanatical because she forgave him. This is because Park was pardoned and they were supposed to kill him and fight him. The teacher responds to her and lets her know that she understands her point of view. But you tell her that you need to calm down a little, nothing more. She continues her words after that, and you let her know that any talk on this subject is unnecessary, so they should not be ignorant. Vision, you are being fanatical and you say it very much from your words. You want me to understand that you will be considered a warrior. The teacher responds to her and tells her that she is thinking of giving him a test to find out if he is really a fighter. Or not. Here we hear someone's voice around saying that Kareem has returned to the village. At that time, we saw signs of anxiety about what happened after hearing that name. We know that Kareem is one of the few ranks in the Ranch clan. And he is considered the strongest one in terms of Gethsemane power. His great power is known in all the villages. The queen continues her speech on the subject of the test. She tells her that this test will be a race between Park and Kareem. After that, we go to the tent where Barak is sitting. We find him sitting on the ground with the shovel that Queen Brila gave him in front of him. So he says to himself, I'm still under surveillance until now. That's why he wonders if his acting skills aren't working. He then thinks to himself about running away from here. He looks at his shovel and says as long as I have it, I can do this. Here he decides that he will cut the roof of the tent with his shovel and make a hole to escape from it. But before he does anything, he finds something that appears to him in the form of a bullet and emits a very strong light. She tells Park that she is the queen and Jad in order to poke him out of what he is in. But Park doesn't wait for her to finish and hits the bullet hard with his shovel, letting it fall on me. He tells her that I could have avoided the trauma you caused me. So he goes and asks the bullet, which is Berea, about what you were doing here. The bullet is surprised by Park's personality and tells him that it is not Berea at all. He gets angry, blesses her, and tells her that you are still the queen. He continues his words and tells her that he does not need help from people like her. But then he calms down and tells the queen that he will listen to her and see what she wants from him. The bullet speaks to him and tells him that her name is Queen Mali. Park is surprised by the names of these queens because they are all cigarette brands. The bullet continues talking to Park and says, I know that you want to take revenge on Queen Bareli because she attacked you. For this world, I also want to take revenge on her for personal reasons. Park remains surprised and says that as long as she owns it, she will have a bullet-shaped bullet for me. She will return the bullet to him and tell him that it turned into an upside-down weapon. Before that, she tried to turn into a stronger weapon, but Berea betrayed her and took all her power away from her. I didn't know. Barak responds to her words and tells her that this is useless. The owner, Mali, talks to him and says no. She was just starting to walk in her basement when suddenly she found a guard entering them. He went and said to Barak, whatever your name is, come with me now. Barak answers him and says he understands. At that time, the guards were surprised that he blessed his understanding, because he had heard that he did not know how to communicate with them in the same language. He asks him in amazement and says, how do you know how to use our language? Park didn't know how to respond at that time because he was surprised too. But he takes advantage of the situation and says that the queen gave me this gift. This is a reward because I got through the first ordeal. In addition, I can communicate with you. The guard looks at him and believes him and tells him that they are waiting. He asks him to leave the tent when he is ready. As soon as the guard leaves the tent, Queen Mali comes to Park again. What do you think about my ability? Park responds to her and tells her that your ability is very useful. He asks her if she has other abilities. She responds to Mali and learns that she will also give him abilities if they build a mutual path between them. After that, she goes to ask him what he thinks if they unite their strength. Park responds to her and tells her that he agrees. Queen Mali appears transformed into a necklace and wraps it around Park's neck. Park is happy and tells her that he wants to hear the rest of her story when they return. At the same time, Queen Berea calls her assistant, whose name is Brown. She tells him that she can no longer see Park. She asks him to go out into the world now and check on the situation himself. Meanwhile, on the ground, Park was standing in the middle of an arena full of spectators. They are all very enthusiastic. Barrack was standing in the middle of them and did not understand anything. The teacher is standing with them as well. And you start talking and tell them we don't know if Park will be part of our novel. Will he be the brave warrior or the darkness that will prevail in the world? That's why she tells them that we want to make sure whether he is really the warrior or not. For this reason, we decided to do a test. Barrack responds to her and tells her that he understood what she said, but he does not know what the warrior test meant to us that she said. The teacher replied to him and told him, I'm sure I meant Mubaratsa. Here we see Dora and Nilari sitting in the audience and very enjoying the event. This is because they know that the one who will be the target of Barrack is Kareem, the strongest warrior in the entire region. Barrack responds to this dual issue and tells them that this is crazy because he still arrived in the village immediately. But the teacher ignores him and says, you are ready and you will start the class now. At that time, the teacher announces that Park's opponent will be generous out of 10 rangers. Kareem laughs very loudly when he sees Park and asks sarcastically if this is the fighter I sold. Queen. He consults him and says, you are definitely not a fighter, right? This is what prompted Park to show his acting talents again. He innocently asks them why there is no one to check on him and check on his skills. He responds to Kareem and tells him that he has no shame. He mockingly asks him if he had seen himself in the mirror before. He continues his blessed words and says that no matter how innocent your features are, your eyes are full of hatred, and you can fool everyone around that you are innocent. But you can't fool us. Park doesn't care and continues with the acting he is doing. He also innocently tells him that all of this is just a test that Bella put on him to test his tolerance. Kareem responds to him and tells him that what you are saying is very funny. He also says that I can guess your true story. Looking at your clothes, I can conclude that you came from another world. The reason why you were punished by Queen Brilla and sent to the forest. And you simply came to the village here to take revenge on Queen Brilla. Kareem then asks him if what he said is true. When Park hears what is being said, he says to himself that his prediction was very frighteningly ridiculous. But he goes to ask him if he has any evidence for his words. Kareem responds to him and tells him that his body has the largest amount of zakat in the city. And he is the most accomplished person in psychology here. He also says that you must face reality and look at yourself and your appearance. Park doesn't understand what his body has to do with the topic. He tells him to stop what he is saying, and that with the force that befell Detallo, he has nothing to do with him. An option that proves its worth. He then gives his kind words and says that whoever withdraws from the battle will be ransomed. It will be an impossible thing. By lineage, here the writer informs us that in the army, according to Park, there was a saying that said that a soldier can defeat his enemy. 1. Al-Raqib can defeat 4 enemies together. Congratulations, he was discharged from the army exactly 3 days ago. This made him wonder if he would now be able to host an entire battalion. At this moment, Barrack wasted no time and attacked Kareem with a shovel with a sudden attack in which he was able to let him go in the head with a strong blow. At that time, everyone present is shocked by his strength and his role, and she remains amazed that Kareem is not even able to save himself. His attack. On the other hand, Barrack Bacon was very happy because he was able to kill him with a direct hit. But suddenly he finds a hand that grabs him by the leg and raises him to the sky and brings him down. He freezes on the ground to the point that the ground is under him it broke. Kareem goes to ask him if what he treated was all his strength. He also tells him that it is his strength and decency that makes people believe that he is a hero. Park is not interested in what he says and tells him that this is a time for battle, not a time for talking. He asks him if his break is over. Kareem remains fanatical about Barrack not taking his words seriously. He tries to respond to me with a strong blow in the face. But Park is able to escape and hit him in the stomach with his scoop. And he might hurt him. But Kareem is not affected by his attacks. And he tells him that no matter how much you attack, this thing you have with you, it remains a giggle to me. He then attacks Ali with a strong blow to his stomach. And he throws away. Then he continues and succeeds in hitting him in the face. At the same time, Deepak Khan responded with an attack with his leg. He tries to finish it with the shovel he has. But Kareem was able to repel this attack. He hits Park 3 times in different places on his body, and it makes him ooze blood from his bug. Then he mockingly tells him that he catches himself and freezes. Because he is still in the battle for a long time. Park doesn't care about Kareem's words. He attacks with the shovel on his face. He tells him that he will remove his eye. But Kareem can dodge this attack very easily. He tells him that he knew before that his body possessed a large amount of zakat and that he had already discovered this from his attack pattern, and here he went to hit him with a box. A strong blow to his face made Park nearly faint, and that was when he was. He becomes upset about what is happening to him and tells him that he is still different. For this world, the truth does not do anything. Its consciousness is still gone. This Asna finds a voice speaking to him and telling him that he must wake up, but bless him, he is not conscious at all. Then the voice begins to sound higher, and he came to his house in the army, and she was a sergeant. This is what makes Barrack think that he excels at that time. As for Kareem, he was on the verge of hitting him with his leg so hard that his life would be lost. But Park succeeds in redeeming her. And we know that the voice that was Nada Ali blessed the light of his salvation. It is the voice of Queen Mali. She was asking him if he was okay or not. Peter Park for her very smart question. He tells her if it seems that he is really fine. So Mali feels sorry for him. Her question, and she tells him that she has been following the battle since then. and it was confirmed. He will never win. That's why she prepared herself for another way. To win. She asked him if he still remembers when she